Well, good day, everyone. Welcome to Alchemy Within from Out Amongst the Stars. And today I have Gail back with me. Yay! Thank you, Gail, for being here. Gail's channel is Relax and Shine, and we'll put all her links below. And she does the oracle readings. But today we're going to talk about the full moon that we have on this 23rd of April in Scorpio. And it's a big one because it's just on the heels of first the eclipses and then the big Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So welcome, Gail. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Diana. Thank you very much for having me back. And
Yeah,
I
you
might not
bet.
say very much today because I'm feeling really tired after the recent transits, and this moon is
Yeah.
big for me. So yeah, thank you. And it's lovely to reconnect with you and to hear all your wonderful astrological weather.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna not say too much, and I will be here with the collective update. We'll have a oracle card pulled when appropriate. So thank you for inviting me back.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll just jump into the chart here, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. I know this Scorpio full moon it's very, very, very emotional and may feel a little heavy, and we all have so much energy to process after what we've all been through. So that makes complete sense, especially when you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, right? So yeah, so here we are with, I'm just going to shift some things around here so we can point at a few things. So our full moon in Scorpio, as you see, we have the sun and the moon opposite each other. So the moon's in Scorpio at this 4 degrees, and the sun over here in Taurus. But as you can see, we also have this square to Pluto. So that's playing a huge part in this particular full moon. So that's why in a lot of ways it feels, quite heavy as well. So this is what you call a T-square. And some say you can, define the release point in Leo. So finding that way that you want to, shine in the world too. But we've just had a lot of energy. And Pluto's a lot about power, right? And empowerment, but also, where we've been having, some really intense, maybe possibly even power dynamics that have happened throughout all of these transits that we've had. So, this is very fixed energy. Scorpio's fixed, um, and that's the water sign. And Taurus is fixed in Earth. And our Pluto in Aquarius, of course, is that's an air sign. But this is what you call a very fixed T-square. And so there's some tension energies and adjustments that we need to look at. And also with Pluto, it's the shadows of what we have been, what's been kind of bubbling under the surface throughout all of these changes, and sort of looking at maybe what hasn't been totally dealt with emotionally and feels very intense and very complex in this particular Scorpio full moon. I mean, Scorpio full moons are definitely not a light energy to begin with. So adding the Pluto element in there right on the heels of, like, if you look here in the chart, we had this Jupiter Uranus conjunction over the weekend, and that's a very dynamic, revolutionary, expansive energy, and we've been all working our way up to it throughout this year, and it starts a new 14-year cycle. And of course it's in our very fixed earth sign of Taurus, and what we materialize, and lots to do with money. So lots to do with money and food and all of these kind of changes that are upon us. And we also, if you look here, had after the heels of the eclipse, this Mars Saturn. So the Mars is very you know, that will and the drive, and can be combative. And then we were running into all the restriction and responsibility of Saturn. This is, you know, not an easy energy either. So it's been, if anybody's been going through it, you know, looking at where your energy was concentrated in your Pisces house, in your Aries house, and in this Taurus house, if you've been going through a lot of shifts and changes, you know, connected to the themes of those houses in your chart, you know, now is that time where we're going to be in that full moon culmination of it. You know, full moons are about, you know, closing a certain period of energy. So coming off that last, you know, new moon in Aries total solar eclipse, this is then that moon cycle now coming to sort of fruition, and, you know, bring what's being brought into our reality of Earth. Like, what are we looking at? But it can feel very deep, and, you know, what's been underlying really needs to get processed. And so, and I mean, this is just like, this is for our complete and total upgrade in consciousness that's happening right now. And I think you've been feeling that too, Gail, like just a lot of shift, have you, throughout?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason that, you know, I've been kind of in a little bit of the underworld. So what
Yeah.
planets have been affecting me. I do feel like I've been in a bit of a, you know, what's the word? A
Well,
bit sleepwalking, if you like. I don't know if that makes sense, but not very, you know, there's been a lot going on, and
yeah. Well, it absolutely does.
yeah, a
I
lot of
feel like I've been in
reflection.
a time
Yeah.
warp. Yeah, I get
Yes,
that.
that describes it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last time we gathered, so ironically, was the new moon in Scorpio. So that new moon in Scorpio was around the middle of November. So that was kind of interesting that when we look back, and here we've both been in sort of these places of, you know, trying to work through whatever's been coming up for us. I mean, of course, that was November 13th, and you know, we were getting into the month of December, and, you know, in our northern hemisphere, that's the winter, and the winter solstice, and where we all kind of retreat a little bit too, where you gather with family and that kind of thing. But and then we were in a Mercury retrograde then, so we were kind of all waiting for, you know, the sort of around the 20th of January to sort of get things going again. But it then, what was happening was we had all this concentrated energy in Aquarius. Like, we had 5 planets. I mean, if the moon would have landed quite right with some of the transits, at one point we would have had 6 planets around that new moon time in Aquarius. That's a lot of, like, you know, higher mind kind of knowledge. And for me, it's in my first house, so I was just like bombarded with, I don't know, so much information that I felt like I couldn't even keep up and get it out there. I was just like taking it all in. And then of course we went into Pisces, and then it all got concentrated there. So as you can see, there's still like, you know, I have some other things here on this chart rather than, you know, the basic planets, but, you know, we were still pretty concentrated in Aries too. So now hopefully we'll start to see some of, you know, some of these energies sort of split apart, but everything was concentrated in this area really big time, and then with Pluto there. So yeah, it's really important to look at those
It
houses.
was a very fast month from, you know, this beginning of April was very fast for me, even though we went into Mercury retrograde. It seems to me that time is speeding up. I don't know if that's something that I
Yeah,
need I don't know what the reason for that is, even though we're Mercury retrograde. I've noticed a lot of emotions and memories coming up from the past. So that redo and that revision, that's something that I've been really grateful for, because it's like, oh, I get to relook at that again. And it's a revision time, isn't it? So
Oh,
even
yes.
though it's really fast, I'm
Yeah.
happy now because we're in Taurus. I'm really excited to hear where we're going from here, what the next step is. So thanks. I'm going to jump out for a moment.
Yeah. Well, and if you look here, we had Chiron in Aries, right? And with the eclipses, it was right concentrated with the North Node as well. So we had a lot of activation of that place where we do feel vulnerable and the wounds that have, you know, been bubbling under the surface. And, you know, Aries wants us to be sovereign. It wants us to, you know, have that impulse to pioneer and drive something forward and all of that kind of thing. And of course, with the retrograde there, it was like we couldn't really push forward too much. And especially with eclipses, you don't want to you know, push something too much. You want to set your intentions a little bit, but it can go in any kind of way. And same with Uranus. So it was sort of, we just had to let things uh, process and let them happen as they were going to happen. And now we get really into processing the emotions of it with this Pluto square, because we're bringing, like, we're now in Taurus. We went from all that fiery Aries energy now in Taurus. Let's bring it in to our reality. Let's embody it. Let's have, you know, feel it with the five senses. It's to do with our earth, it's to do with our money, it's to do with what we're building upon in a step by step, you know, more slower dynamic. And we need to really pay attention to our body and what we're feeling in our body, and maybe finding some somatic type therapies that can help you process all of those old emotions that might be coming up. There might be stuff, you know, that stagnant energy that our cells, like it, they store that emotionally charged stories that we've had. But these old stories and our old way of life, with the, you know, Pluto moving into Aquarius, our old, you know, we were in Capricorn from 2008, and we'll dip slightly back in this fall, September 1st to November 13th or so. And we have to look at our next 20 years of Aquarius energy, the old structures, the old systems, the old ways, the old habits, the old ways we did things just aren't working anymore. So, and there's lots of talk just from, you know, the energy that's coming off the sun too, with solar flares, that has nothing to do with astrology. Like, we're just getting so much more energy brought in to us as humans, and that whole, you know, we'll see the children, you know, operate from such a different place than we did in our generation, right? So there there's just a lot of depth with this Scorpio. So if you're feeling like something has kind of crumbled that was out of your control into the, you know, pile of ashes, so you can be the phoenix rising from the ashes, something that needs to be transformed. I mean, Pluto wants you to shift. It wants that change. But it often takes it right down to the, you know, getting underneath what was kind of at the root cause of you know, whatever's going on. If it's health, health is always related to lingering emotions, as well as you know, maybe some environmental and lifestyle things, but and you know, intergenerational sort of places of where we might have a you know, something that is hereditary, I guess. And you know, but so much to do with, and we've learned, um, the emotions that we carry. So if there's been something that has been, uh, you know, feeling like bringing up anger and frustration from when we hit this Mars Saturn, um, or the obstacles or the challenges or the boundaries or blockages that we had from this Mars Saturn after the eclipses, or disagreements or any kind of turbulence, or like the differences in opinions that we may have had, or directions that we wanted to take. Like, we might want to do something, but we have something in our way to do that. we might like we wanted to charge forward with all that Aries energy, but it's like, nope, can't do it. We have to process, okay, what is it that we really value? Like Taurus wants us to feel safe and secure, and it's ruled by Venus, and that's desire and luxury and comfort, and what we're attracted to, and what um what we find beautiful, and that really lovely place of peace and flow and joy. And so that's our ultimate goal. We all want to feel that every day, but we have to look at where we've been sort of being redirected and realigned to get there through the eclipses, and then with this liberating kind of, or shocking or chaotic energy of Jupiter, Uranus. So if you've been dealing with some sort of betrayal, or a place where you've been deceived, there might be secrets that come out as well with this Pluto square to this full moon. It might, the Scorpio energy might be digging those things up from underneath, what's been hidden from you, or what others have hidden from you, or you have hiding within yourself, and that the shadow parts of us that need to be processed in order to move forward, and bring these emotions up and out and move that energy. So yeah, if you've been feeling like your whole life has been rocked in some way, some people felt it way stronger than others with this eclipses, and then of course, like I said, the Jupiter Uranus doesn't happen on the day, but there could be some indication of it, of how this next 14 years is gonna, is there gonna be a move? Is there gonna be some sort of a career change that you've been feeling? But it's all for an up level in our consciousness, and helping us evolve as a human. And it might be with your environment, it might be with your career. It's really great to look at the houses this is involved in. It might be just in your own belief system. It might be with how you are showing up in the world. It might be in your own health and body and appearance, and or your relationships, of course, right? So it's just a matter of like putting yourself into the observer mode and also really sitting with those emotions to process. And like I said, if you need help, like people need to reach out to, I would say, not just even a psychologist, therapist. I mean, Scorpio is related to psychology, but somebody who knows how to connect all of that emotion that has been stored in the body, to move it and shift it. EFT tapping works a lot of times for people, and there's EMDR, the somatic experience, anything connected to that vagus nerve, all of the different modalities that have been brought in through energy medicine and energy shifting. That's, I guess, our whole thing is we have to realize we're not just this physical being, we are energy. So of course there's that's all my passion, is everything is energy, and everything to do with energy and bioenergetics and emotions, and the energy and motion to move the emotions, all through more energetic work, as opposed to, and I'm a talker, but as opposed to talking, you sometimes need to get that extra help not rehash the story over and over. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? Embodiment practices are something that has been coming up for me a lot in this last few years, and somatic practices, and yeah, breath work, so mindfulness, all of those tools are great resources. And my passion is flower essences, and so and aromatherapy, so it's all frequency, it's all energy medicine. Frequency is the new medicine, isn't it?
It is, it
yeah.
100% is, yeah, and we're gonna see a lot more of that. It's gonna happen very, very fast. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things coming up with the, this, the CRISPR, the gene editing, and that's gonna help everyone with the shifts. And then I do the, have the bioenergetics wellness coaching, which is connected to using, the water, the structured water, or the devices that can help shift those energy. Because we're all like energy that sometimes gets misinformation from the other energetic frequencies, which might be some kind of toxic substances. And whether it be in your home, if it's mold or that kind of thing, or stuff lead from the pipes or that kind of thing, or it's from the, certain foods that we eat and the chemicals or that kind of thing that's in it. And all the, contaminated water, or the pollution in the air, or like, that's messed up a lot of gut health. It's messed up a lot of, people's energetic frequencies. So we have to bring in the right information to get those, everything back in alignment and corrected. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of technology because of this Pluto and Aquarius coming up. As I don't know if anybody else has recognized, just in this last, like through this eclipse time and Jupiter Uranus time, all of a sudden, like I went to search something on Facebook and I'm talking to an AI bot, and then even with Zoom, that we have the AI, and Grammarly, it wants to help correct better with AI. So there's a lot of that technology is, it's coming very fast. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have to
It is,
be
isn't
careful
it?
around it, but I guess
Yeah.
obviously accept it too. So
Yeah, it's finding that place for it, isn't it? And I brings to mind the med beds, and I know in the group, in the unit consciousness group, there's a lot about talking about the technology in the med beds, and these innovative devices. What it's all there. It's going to be all there for us, and in the next 20 years. So I find it really exciting, and I'm not so fearful of the bots and the other technologies, because I think it's like anything. It's like, what you know is what you know, and not being afraid of it, stepping into it, and just being open, I guess, isn't it?
yeah, we all have to make some sort of shift and change, and that's what we're really in that now in some way. But we all are here with our energetic blueprint that we often see in the chart. How it can express, and there's various ways that when we pull up your chart, how it can express. It's not this is your path. You always have that free will choice in there too, but it's sure nice to know what that energetic blueprint looks like for you, so that sometimes when you're fighting against what you might have learned as a young person, which was your status quo from your environment and family of origin, all of a sudden it's like, oh whoa, wait a minute, that's not who I, in the direction I'm supposed to go in this lifetime, or who I'm supposed to essentially be, or the places where I'm supposed to kind of go to. So I know when we're looking at this, everyone has a different north node, and right now we're in this nodal axis and of Libra and Aries, and this is actually the first full moon, because previous to this we had it in the Scorpio Taurus axis, the nodes in the Scorpio Taurus axis. So we haven't had this a full moon until now that wasn't in this axis. It's the first one that they're moved out. And of course, this is the me and the we. And so we're really looking at our north node, where we are, where the me, the I am, the selfness. It's not about being selfish. It's about being in selfhood, where we want to direct our lives to go. And even if there's certain jobs that are fading away or certain careers that aren't working for us anymore, there's always some other options for us. And what's also interesting is after this full moon, we're going to, just in a few days on the 28th, we're going to have Mars get closer to conjunct Neptune here. So it's going to conjunct Neptune. So we had Mars with Saturn after the eclipses. So I put the eclipse on the outside here. But we're going to have Mars with Neptune. I mean, Neptune is that spiritual energy, and it's the compassion and, you know, our connection to the other side. This one's more restrictive. This is about, you know, what other kind of spiritual wisdom and work is coming through, and how are we connecting with that through, you know, dance and more creative expression and yoga and, you know, taking action, but feeling that, you know, real watery sense of connection to the other side as well with the Neptune. So that is more of a, you know, sort of devotional action, or how we're going to sacrifice. I mean, I think some might have to be careful they don't maybe get too martyrish or something like that, or too, you know, caught up in victimization in some sort of way, but finding that way to connect. So yeah, we you know, talked, of course, about how we're processing now all of this energy that we have been in. And but I'll go backwards a little bit to from this full moon that we're in right now. And we'll actually look at just a little bit for a few minutes. I just wanted to talk about this Jupiter Uranus. And there was, it's not going to be the same as any others that we've had, but we get them every 14 years. But I went back, and this, if anybody can go back in their photos or back in their emails to look when that happened previously. The last time it was in Taurus was 1941. So you can even do some Wikipedia search on that. It had lots to do with war and women having to even leave the house and go to work because of men going to war and weaponry. And but that was the last time it was in Taurus, this Jupiter Uranus conjunction. And then we had the 1969, where we had the moon landing. And so that was very, very cool. 1983 was the one after that, and that one was in Sagittarius. So there was, you know, lots to do with the internet, and you know, that was kind of right around when AIDS came about, or there was different things that were happening with, you know, like intelligence and I know I looked up for me and how these kind of cycles were going, like at these different times, and it was just some stuff to do with my family and kind of what's coming back around now. So that was kind of cool. And then in you can look at the oppositions as well, which are then in between there. But in 1997, we had 5 degrees Aquarius. And that's when Steve Jobs, I guess, went back to Apple. And there was, I get, oh, and you could, yeah, Google domain was registered. So that was an interesting revolutionary time as well, 1997. And then getting kind of more current, then we went into the next one was like for 2010, 11. And of course, they sometimes retrograde, right? So it's over, it kind of hits a few times. So that 2010-11 one, and that was in Aries at 0 degrees Aries. Yeah. So so that was the Jupiter Uranus conjunctions that happened previously. And we had an opposition then of Jupiter and Uranus, where they were opposite in, well, I guess it would be it would have been at the Aries and Libra axis. And that was 2016 into 17 was the opposition. So there might be some themes that you can look at in your going back in your life of how that 14-year cycle played out. And yeah, this total solar eclipse in Aries was definitely making a difference for people and showing them where they need to get back into alignment of self, like with that Aries, I feel, and where you have to make those little shifts and changes in order to, find your what it is you want to take action on. And then it was kind of wild too, because all through this we had this Mercury retrograde, which went into shadow on March 18th, and it was at 15 degrees. And then on April 1st, it went retrograde, and it retrograded then back to the 27-degree mark of Aries. Or sorry, that's not true. We went into shadow at 15 degrees, and then we went to 27 degrees and 13 minutes, and then it retrograded back. And we will be hitting that 15 on the 25th of April here, hitting that 15 degree 59 minutes in Aries again. So it retrograded, will be retrograding back to here. The 25th is when it stations direct. So we're very close to that right now. And then it moves on to go forward again. And so we won't be out of shadow until kind of around the 13th of May. When it passes by that 27-degree mark again of Aries. So all through this eclipse that was in this axis, we also had that Mercury retrograde, allowing you to do all of that work of, what you're going to revisit and revise and redo and rework and reconsider and rethink, and allowing you to kind of conceptualize in a new way how it is that you want your story to go for you, and being, in your true self. And then we had the Chiron activation with it through there, which is, working through those vulnerabilities and insecurities and where our wounds are, fears are, but they're also that way to be the healer, to help mentor other people, those pain points, right? So again, connected to how we want our real self to show up, but we have to come through this Scorpio, drudging up the emotions that are stuck in the old story to move forward, to be in this, new life that we're in, because we are truly into a new life. And so there's no point in hanging on to any past or what the old story was, or your old victim story of what happened to you through. And I'm not trying to make light of, but we all as humans go through these things that are very emotional and trying, and you're like, come out of nowhere, and are very painful at times. But that's part of our blueprint, or part of our soul contract in this lifetime, and the lessons that we need to learn and the ways we need to shift. And it's important to look at your very own North Node to see kind of what it is you're going towards. So for me, it's Pisces, so very spiritual. I was not from the spiritual environment at all, at all. It was so I don't even know what the words, industrial and I don't know, redneck really isn't the word, but very much from country roots, and work hard, play hard, party hard, and very of service, like it was Virgo. And I, just doing all the things on task, all the details, tracking everything, very, very much about getting all those little facts and figures, and very intellectual, not at all spiritual. So yeah, so this is all new for me too, but very interesting. And I get to meet cool people like you, so it makes it really fun.
It's so wonderful that you're integrating. I started learning astrology by looking at the North Node and discovering that in myself, and that's what opened up my passion for discovering more, you know. And so
Yeah.
it's so interesting understanding your journey, you know. And I think it's a lifelong journey moving towards that North Node, and I call it integration, and
Oh,
not
yes.
disowning any of those younger years of, you know, parts of ourselves, the South Node, but really embodying all of them. And I love it. I'm so happy to
Oh,
hear that you're
yeah.
going towards the Pisces, because yeah, I've got a little bit of Pisces. In fact, my Chiron's in Pisces, so
Yeah.
very much the wounded healer, very much, you know, working on my own healer
Yes.
roots. And you know, it seems like a lifelong journey for me on that.
It
I'm not
is. Yeah,
so
it
exciting.
absolutely is. And it's not like you're leaving everything, behind. It's like it is that integration, but it just feels really familiar it was so familiar for me to do the Virgo. I got and I worked in oil field stuff and chemical. Like that was kind of
Yeah.
weird that
So
and
earthly, isn't it? It's so Virgo, very
it
grounded.
was, and I was called the tracking queen in my account management job. Yeah. So yeah, because of everything I had to track, all the volumes and all the different things that went on, because if something went sideways, then of course it comes back on you. So you have to have it all. Yeah. So yeah, completely different world. Yeah. So I'll let you pull us a card. Today you're going to use the Gaia deck, you said, which is so fitting. That's what came to you because we have our sun in Taurus and it was Earth Day. So yeah.
And it's St. George's Day yesterday as well in England. Not that that's
Oh,
anything
okay.
to do with the earth, but
Yeah.
I just want to add on that it's interesting just having that reflection about you working with the oil in the oil industry in your younger years. I worked in the military, and one of my jobs was doing fuel accounting, and my South Node was in Capricorn. So I was also meant to be an accountant and doing
Yes.
detail and doing you know, that very militarified thing.
Yes. So
So it's so
Capricornian.
interesting. I've gone
Yeah.
completely the opposite way. You know, you couldn't get any further from being in the military, wearing uniform, marching,
Yeah.
accounting, to then
Yeah.
sitting doing angel card readings at Mind Body Spirit shows. You know, there is a polarity, a huge polarity there.
Huge. Yeah. No, I never
So
expected
yeah.
myself.
So I'm loving the Gaia deck, and I'm so grateful to be reconnected with them, because I've missed doing the draws, the card draws on the moon cycles, and so I want to bring those back. And yeah, so this is just a collective draw. So let's see what Gaia, Mother Earth, wants to provide during this transit, this Taurus period that we're in.
The Scorpio full moon.
Scorpio full moon.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you for putting me correct there.
Yeah, well, it's
Um,
very much involving our opposition to Taurus. So
Oh, this is interesting, because it's exactly what you were talking about in that. This is number 6, and I don't know if you can see it. Am I on camera? Or I don't know if I'm on camera here, but
yeah.
this is number 6, and the message is the search. Feeling lost, confused, or lonely. So
Maybe put it up again. I just pulled the chart down. The search. Oh, yeah, perfect. Oh, we lost you, Gail. You're muted for some reason.
oh, I just knocked my yeah, sorry, I just
Yeah, there
tapped
we go.
my
You're back.
yeah, I just tapped my
Oh, that's a
button.
beautiful
So
card.
yeah, so this message, I don't know if I want to read it word for word, but the first part of it is: the days of our lives are forever changing, just like the 4 seasons of nature. Spring follows summer, and then comes autumn and winter, and then the cycle starts once again. At the present, it says you are symbolically experiencing a winter season. If life seems dreary and it feels as if everything has come to a halt, you may be feeling a sense of loneliness and confusion, and it feels like you have lost your way. Searching for the answers that do not appear to come, wanting to know why, and yearning for new inspirations. When will your passion and excitement for life return? The answer to your question is soon. Without a doubt, spring always follows winter. Look at the lady on the card and notice how she looks out to the horizon. So there she is, searching and yearning, unaware that the first rays of sunlight are just beginning to glow from behind her. Very soon now, the light will shine upon you and a new cycle will begin, full of ideas, new inspirations, perhaps even a new love of some kind. So that's kind of interesting. And the
Yeah.
affirmation is, all is well in my life. I give thanks for the changing seasons. In solitude, I grow stronger and wiser. And my mind is clear. My heart is open. I am always on the right path.
Wow. And so it is.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Gaia, Oracle has the answers. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing today.
Yeah. And outside, feet in grass, out in nature, taking in that sunshine and connecting with breath and out of that mind, and finding ways to work through our own emotions that are coming up is very very important. So yeah, thank you so much for being here with me, Gail. I appreciate you taking the time and pulling that beautiful card. And you can find Gail at Relax and Shine, and we'll put her links below if you want to connect with her for oracle readings and the Bach remedies too. If you're, I don't know if you do that just in person, but anything.
Yeah, I send them out. I do make bespoke remedies for people, but sending to the States, the shipping is a bit of an issue. So if you know people that are local, I would say it makes sense to find a local essence practitioner and keep the carbon footprint down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's another way to help shift that energy. Yeah, everyone has to find what works for them, but yeah, so we'll try to do this again soon. And again, thank you for being here, and hopefully everyone has a beautiful full moon, and we'll see what happens as we integrate all of these energies we just been through. And if anybody has any questions of their own, please reach out to either one of us, and I can look at the astrology, and Gail can pull you some cards if you need guidance in that way. And if you just need that support, emotional support during this time, we both have a background with helping with that. So we'll all chat soon, and thanks everyone. Until next time.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day and week.